Well, some interesting news that we need to touch on. The Tucker Carlson video, episode 7 coming out, massive viewership. Looks like you don't need mainstream media. I think we've known this for years. Ran a social media company years ago, actually, and social media's been crushing media, mainstream news, and legacy media for years. I mean, Glenn Beck, for crying out loud, started an internet media company, in 2010 or 11? So people way ahead of their time for sure. But Tucker Carlson, why are we at war with Russia? Why are we? And it's an incredible video. You have to watch all 7 of them have been phenomenal. And really, he's based. Tucker is based. And saying the things that he couldn't say on Fox. And it's a lot of what we talk about here, right? And why are we at war with Russia? And we've been told, well, it's for democracy. It's for democracy. For democracy. Both sides. John Cornyn, Nancy Pelosi, both sides of the aisle is for democracy. If we don't fight for democracy here, we'll lose it here. Really? Oh, okay. I didn't know that they had anything to do with us. But, what do I know? So, asking why are we at democracy? And then here we are. Zelensky suspending elections. Just suspended democratic elections. So this is now we're coming to, and we're talking about RFK and Trump in a second. And this is now the bridge to this is RFK. And again, someone, these people I never thought I'd agree with my entire life. People that were just never thought I'd agree with. And I agree with 80-90% of what RFK talks about and says. And that you could see it right from the beginning. Questioning the establishment, questioning government, how it operates, and the 3-letter agencies. And this goes back to JFK and RFK getting killed and what happened there, the psyops going on, the battles with the intelligence agencies, and RFK Jr. talking about Vietnam and how that was a psyop, the Gulf of Tonkin, the Bay of Pigs, obviously with JFK, leading up to him fighting with them for the next 1,000 days, as he says, going back and forth as he learned that the CIA had been lying to him, his intelligence officials had been lying to him, and he said, no more, we're not doing this. And then they tried to get into Vietnam. They had people there, they had 16,000 advisors there, or whatever, people on the ground, but they weren't supposed to be fighting. And they found out they were fighting, and people had been killed, so he said, give me the report, how many people have killed, and they said 75 Green Berets have been killed. And he said, get them out, I'm done. This is the last straw. You guys screwed me over in the Bay of Pigs. Now, 3 years later, you're doing this crap again, get them out. And then a month later, that was October 1963, a month later, in Dallas, what happened. And, it's sad, so RFK Jr. went through this firsthand. His family has been obviously hammered, and I don't agree with a lot of things that his family has done or what have you, but there's a lot of things I agree with. And it's being able to hold 2 opposing opinions in your head at the same time. So RFK Jr. talked about Vietnam, us projecting, because of the dollar generally, weaponizing the dollar, but because the military-industrial complex wanted theirs and doesn't care about anything. This goes back to the BlackRock just recently now. I mean, you keep going back and forth and straddling this line between now and then back then, and the Russian agent, recruiter for BlackRock saying, yeah, war's profitable. Again, things we know, things we've talked about here, correct? And war's profitable. We love deciding people's fate, basically. We love controlling people. We buy politicians. I mean, these are things that for decades, were talked about. And now we're literally getting confirmation. And it seemingly isn't even news at the time. Like, it's not even news. And the mainstream news doesn't even carry stuff like this, which is mind-blowing. That is the admission in and of itself, right? You're not carrying things like this. Massive bombshell things going on. And not even carried by mainstream news. We buy politicians, and we control people's fate. We tell them what to do and don't do, and it's amazing controlling people. And war is profitable. There's volatility. Chaos creates volatility, which is great. That's how we make money. I mean, that's literally everything. Bitcoin is designed to rough out those edges, polish those edges off, so we don't have so much volatility. That's what free markets generally do. In general, Bitcoin helps exacerbate that, helps amplify that, right? But a free market, we don't have free markets. The Federal Reserve, since then, we haven't had free markets, right? We've had this cost of money that's constantly moving with goalposts that are moving. But when you have free markets, these little blips, they go up and down, but they when you have high prices are the cure for high prices, because then people stop buying it and then the prices come down, and then maybe they get too low and people start buying them up more and the prices rise again. But you have these little dips instead of these massive, huge bubbles and these massive crashes and depressions. This is all because of centrally planned economies and people thinking they're smarter than 8 billion people on Earth. I'm like, I'm going to make decisions for 8 billion people. This is the clown world we live in. So us projecting into the world, like, we're going to go give democracy to Vietnam. We're taking out the communists. They're taking our energy. And then what do we do here? We bring division and polarization, hate and war back onto our soil. Here we are and then you go all between then, things happening. And then here we are now with this going on, with democracy. We're going to give democracy. We're going to battle for democracy in Ukraine. And then they suspend the very thing that we're fighting for. And we've given, what, $200 billion at this point of all cash that we don't have and that we're going to pay through our time and energy, through inflation. No one asked us. So then we have Trump here, his respect for RFKjr. He's got some very important points, quote. Apparently, RFK said, just to quell any speculation, under no circumstances will I join Donald Trump on any electoral ticket. So that kind of kisses it down. That means you probably will be joining forces, which ironically is what Nolan Bowerley talked about 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago, called it before. I don't know if RFKjr is in the race yet. I think Jeremy, I know you're watching, you probably can help with this, but I don't know if he even said he'll run and then he'll talk about Bitcoin, and then he can predict like 3 or 4 things, and they've all come true. And now he's continuing to gain steam. The shirtless pic the other day, proof of work, actually showing what a leader looks like, putting in the work, saying, hey, come follow me, look what I'm doing with my life. And instead of the leaders we have now. So I mean, I love it. I love the RFKjr thing. If not for nothing, he's exposing, just like Trump did the last 6, 7 years, exposing the media, exposing social media, exposing censorship and big tech and all these conglomerates and these corporations and these monopolistic type of entities that we've kind of created now, these pseudo monopolies. He's exposing all that, breaking brains now. Trump broke brains on both sides and the right, and RFKjr is breaking brains on the left now in that echo chamber. And first time people seeing that on that side, that, wow, these entities are against us. They're not really doing us any favors, and on down the line. So I thought that was very interesting. These two seemingly talking about a lot of the same things. And that was what he had predicted. Nolan predicted. He didn't predict he would get in the race. I think he must have just gotten the race. And he said, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins. He will eventually talk about Bitcoin. He said Bitcoin will be one of the biggest, if not the biggest topic in the 2024 election, which is becoming more and more a part of the election. And then people won't be able to deny it. I will hopefully stop getting hate mail and hate comments all the time about talking about Bitcoin. We talk about Bitcoin here because it's literally the hardest and best asset we've ever discovered as human beings. Hence why we talk about it all the time. And the knock-on effect it will have in humanity, literally giving us more abundance and wealth, lowering our time preference, increasing the standard of living, and lowering costs. If you don't want that, and you don't want freedom and property rights and wealth, then then go back to your fiat, dollar, bolivar, rubles. That ain't for me. I'm going in the new system. I'm building the new system. So RFK, then he said they would run together. He said they would run together and be on the same ticket together. Fascinating stuff. I mean, I think they would break the system so incredibly much that there's no coming back. We would have to transition into the new Bitcoin standard, into the new monetary system, and abundance would come forth. Call me crazy. Call me I'm a pessimist and an optimist at the same time. So I don't know. Is it a realist? I don't know what that is. I have no idea. Pragmatic. But what say you? What are your thoughts? I think this is very interesting. And again, things that must be thought about and talked about and pondered about. I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. Please share this out. Algorithm hates truth, as we know. Question everything with boldness. Trust but verify. And this is freedom advice, not financial advice. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.